no more Facebook account requirement for Quest 2. We literally talked about this on last WAN show.
Yeah.
And apparently they heard this podcast and no one else has complained. No.
Dare I say good guy Facebook?
Finally. Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I don't think they did it out of the kindness of their hearts. I don't think this was a good guy move as much as they saw it to be a logical necessity moving forward. Because there's some really weird things. Like if you're a company and you want to set something up with I was going to say Oculus, but if you want to set something up with the Meta Quest, God, it's such a terrible name. You have to set up like Facebook accounts with real people's names and assign them to those headsets. That's really weird because it has to be like a verifiable name, or you have to like trick them with something that sounds realistic, which is what, as far as I know, most like corporate outfits are actually doing. But it gets very odd. And yes, you can buy whatever, the enterprise one, as if most corporations are actually doing that if they're small. If you're like some giant massive corporation, sure. But if you're some small corporation, you're going to go, no, I'm going to buy the cheaper one and fake-o a Facebook account and make it work that way.
Flowplane chat is so mad. They're like, no. Lapsed Memory says, that's like saying good job to Thanos for adopting a child whose parents he just murdered.
Whoa.
And they point out that even though you no longer need a Facebook account, you do still need a Meta account.
Which is owned by Facebook. Let's go. That helps a little bit. I mean, it is better because you don't have to necessarily like tie it to a public Facebook account that like has your name and everything on it, which is whack. You can link your Meta account to Facebook and Instagram if you want. So that's real cool. Hope you're stoked about that. Oculus account users will be able to continue using that account until January 2023. Then you will need to move to a Meta account and a Meta Horizon profile.
I heard that's the new Meta.
To continue using the Meta VR device with your Meta blah, 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 blah. Ugh. Hate it so much.
Join the metaverse.
As of now, many users attempting to log in via Facebook have faced issues. Some people reactivating accounts to use their Quest 2 have been met with instant suspensions.
Nice.
Oh, boy.
Remember when we owned our software? We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Remember when we owned our hardware?
Pepperidge Farms remembers. Yeah, then there's some notes about how Meta's next VR headset might be called the Quest Pro. The name was found in code from Meta's Oculus mobile app. Codename Project Cambria, which is what I've heard of, has been shown off already and could be Quest Pro and could have full color pass-through capability, depth sensors, yada, yada. Some people are estimating the final retail price to be $800 to $1,000 USD, which sounds expensive unless they are fully planning on maintaining previous products along with this one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If they're discontinuing previous products, it's too expensive. They're not going to launch it at that.
Yeah. But if Quest 2 and Quest Pro exist simultaneously, then it's probably fine.
Then I could see it.
I got to tell you, I don't think that I'm going to be able to go to inside-out tracking. If Valve goes inside-out, I think I might just have to keep my index forever.
Unless it gets wildly better.
Yeah. One of the things that it doesn't work so for one thing, when you are swinging your arms around really fast and a lot, sometimes they can be easily carried outside of what can be tracked conveniently from a head-mounted device. And number two is that because when I stream Beat Saber, I put on full body trackers, I don't see any way that you would manage that with inside-out tracking.
Not with tech we have currently.
But it may not be feasible to even continue to compete with Meta in the space. Like I was looking at the market.
That they even are.
I was looking at the market share numbers, and it's like not even on the same.
Yeah, there's a note in here that says, "Is Meta going to take over the VR space?" They already have.
I hope Valve keeps bothering, or someone else keeps bothering. I mean, there are other niche, high-end headsets. There was one that we were talking about on WAN Show, I think a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago, that looks amazing, but it was like $2,000 or $3,000 or something stupid like that.
Yeah, when I pissed off the whole world. So I think it was around 8 years ago when I said that VR wasn't going to take off for 5 to 10 years. I don't know if you remember that. And then it took about 5 to 10 years, and then it took off. So that was pretty cool. But I think the like first jump was the Quest 2, because that was really big, right? Especially
You
when
mean the first Quest?
the first Quest was
Oh, you're saying the Quest 2 is the jump.
it hit pretty mainline there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I mean, other companies tried. Samsung had that weird like thing you could put your
That
phone
was
in.
dumb.
That was super dumb.
I hated that. That just made people think VR was bad. But yeah, with Quest 2, like, what was the one that went just like gangbusters? Was that Quest 1 or Quest 2? Quest 2 launch date. Yeah, October 13th, 2020. I think that's right, because COVID hit, and then that Christmas, Quest 2 just went crazy. They were sold out like everywhere. That was the first like notable jump. I think I called that that happened later than I expected. And then I think there's going to be another one. And then I think there's going to be another one after that when companies other than just Oculus start making headsets that like can actually compete.
Loudface Bob on Floatplane makes a good point. It says first jump was when they dropped the price of the original Oculus to $300.
It still wasn't mainstream then.
Yeah, and
It still didn't really pop off. That was a very good thing that needed to happen. But
for mainstream adoption, not for the health of the VR hardware market in general, in my opinion, because it's basically just subsidizing the hardware with your data.
Totally.
Something that no one other than Facebook has the capability or willingness to do.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like Quest 2 that Christmas was huge. The amount of Quest 2 sales was monstrous. And like VR games actually started to sell like pretty okay. It's cooled down a fair amount since then. Which is why I don't think it's like actually really here yet, is because it has cooled down. And like indexes are still like $2,000, and like it's still a bit of a rough space to get in. But yeah.